dopamine fasting and how it's really important for increasing your intelligence and really just maximizing your mental performance. So this is something that I do on a regular basis, and I found that every single time that I do dopamine fasting, I get an immediate boost to my mental performance. So I'm not really sure if it's the dopamine fasting itself that boosts your mental performance. It's more so that the dopamine feasting is just hurting your intelligence. For example, overusing social media and just overusing your phone, overusing technology, those sources of artificial dopamine, feasting on that type of artificial dopamine will cause a drop in your mental performance. It's not so much that dopamine fasting will boost your mental performance, it's simply that dopamine feasting will hurt your mental performance. So what I do on a regular basis is I just take breaks from social media, breaks from technology, and breaks from just artificial dopamine in general. And these kind of dopamine fasts, I found that every single time I do it, I get an immediate boost to my mental performance. So not just my mental performance, but also my creativity, also my work rate, my energy, and my ability and my interest in doing work also increases every single time I do a dopamine fast. And it doesn't need to be like a really big dopamine fast. I found that also little dopamine fasts, for example, just a 2-hour dopamine fast, can also have a massive benefit. So sometimes what I might do is during a day, I might just take, for example, 2 hours off technology and social media together. So I'll close my laptop, I'll turn my phone off, and I won't look at any social media at all. And during those 2 hours, I won't really set any kind of specific goal for that 2 hours. Instead, I'll have a couple of things on my to-do list, and then it's just up to me. I can decide what items on that to-do list I want to do, or whether I want to have that time as free time doing whatever I want, relaxing, enjoying myself, doing something fun, or whether I want to actually do work. What I found is every single time that I take these little dopamine fasts is my interest in working just skyrockets. So anything on my to-do list, I just start attacking it straight away. And that's not really the plan whenever I do this dopamine fast. The plan is simply to take a break from technology, from social media, and then during that break I can do whatever I want. But what always ends up happening is what I want during that time is to work harder and to get things done. And I think the reason for this is quite simple. It's simply because if you're starving yourself of artificial dopamine that you get on a regular basis from social media and from technology, if you starve yourself of that, even just for a couple of hours, then your brain will start seeking out normal sources of dopamine. And normal sources of dopamine come from really productive things. For example, getting things done that are on your to-do list. That gives you a hit of dopamine. So what I found is every single time I take these little dopamine fasts, I get a lot done during that period. Even if it's just a 2-hour dopamine fast, I will get a lot done. But what I also do on a semi-regular basis is longer dopamine fasts, for example, for 2 to 3 days. Now, during this time, I do check my phone and my laptop occasionally, but I schedule it, for example, only a 5-minute check, maybe 3 times per day, just to check if I've got a very important email or very important text, anything like that. But for the most part, I don't use my laptop, my phone, or social media at all when I'm doing these longer dopamine fasts. And what I found from these longer dopamine fasts is it's really good to fully reset your mind. So what tends to happen, for me anyway, is when I use social media and my phone and my laptop, it's exactly like any type of addiction where after a dopamine fast, I might only use technology and social media for, say, half an hour the next day after a dopamine fast. But then the next day it might be 40 minutes, then it might be 50 minutes, and it just builds up and up and up and up until a month or 2 later, and then I'm using my phone and my laptop and social media basically all day. And then that's the time when I need to do another longer dopamine fast. I'm not sure if you've noticed the same thing. Perhaps I just have a more addictive personality than the average person, which I think is actually true. But for me, this is the pattern that I've noticed. And when I notice this, usually it's actually hard to notice in real time because you think you're being productive. You're using your laptop and your phone. You think you're being productive. You're searching for interesting topics on YouTube or on Twitter or on the social media app that you use. You're searching for interesting topics. You think you're learning things. You think you're researching. But really what you're doing is just seeking out artificial dopamine. So in real time, it's actually hard to notice that you've become fully addicted. But eventually, when you do notice that you've become fully addicted, like when I do, then it's time to take a longer dopamine fast. And what I found is that completely resets the addiction. So after, say, a 2 or 3 day dopamine fast, then my interest in using my phone and my laptop and social media, my interest in using any of those is just almost zero. But then, like any sort of addiction, it slowly builds back up again. But it's a good reset. It's a good reset, and it allows you to get a lot of work done when you have reset your mind like that. It allows you to be more productive, more creative, but also your mental performance will be at its absolute peak. I think the main reason why your mental performance drops when you're dopamine feasting is because the social media and the technology actually gives you negative emotions more so. So these negative emotions like anxiety and, things like that, those sort of emotions, they shut down your prefrontal cortex. So they actually shut down your higher level reasoning ability. They effectively make you dumber. They make you less intelligent. By overusing technology and overusing social media, you are causing yourself to be less intelligent. You are dumbing down your mind. You are not letting your mind work at its optimal level. So for anyone watching this video, if you feel like you haven't been that productive lately, try doing a little dopamine fast, just for 2 hours. Don't use your phone or your laptop or any social media, just for 2 hours, and just see what you'll get done. I think you'll find that you'll just get a lot of things around the house done. Little things on your to-do list will just be ticked off. You'll just get a lot done. Even if you don't plan it, even if you don't set yourself a list of goals, a list of things to achieve during that little dopamine fast, it doesn't matter. You will just get the things done anyway. So if you're feeling a little bit unproductive, that's what I recommend. And if you're feeling like your mental performance is lower, if it feels like you're kind of struggling to achieve the things you used to be able to achieve, it's likely that you're in need of a longer dopamine fast. I recommend a 2 to 3 day dopamine fast. During that time, you should limit your phone and laptop use to, say, 10 to 15 minutes per day, just in little 5-minute increments, just to get the really important emails, really important texts, and don't use social media at all during that period. That's what I recommend for the longer dopamine fast. And if you do that, say 2 to 3 days every month, you'll find that you'll get so much more done because it will allow you to keep your mental performance at a peak level for longer. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Cheers, guys.